BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Welcome to episode 632 of BRB UK. I'm Coleman. Dan is not here, but Tim is.
I am. I'm not
Yes.
Dan, but I am
No.
Tim. So yeah, I am also here.
Yes.
Comparing be two things at the same time.
No, Dan's off playing Nintendo Switch 2.
It's not true.
Oh, no? Okay. Dan is off getting his internet fixed because he moved into a house from the 1970s. He still has copper wiring internet. Something I've not dealt with in a long... Copper wiring internet. That's a name I've not heard in quite some time. Yes. Anyway, hopefully Dan's back next week. Until we say that next week. So we'll see how it goes. Tim?
Yes?
We got games to talk about, but before we do that, I'm gonna say, hey, BRB UK, it's the podcast for BigRedBarrel.com. That's the website you should go to and listen to podcasts, read articles, watch any trailers we've embedded, click links, go look at Tabletop Tuesday, do all that stuff on BigRedBarrel.com. Anyway, on with the show.
Yep.
It's out for midnight.
Yeah.
It's out.
It is.
It's awesome, sort of.
Before we get fully into that, I was going to play a different game for variety this week. I was going to play Commandos Origins, because that came out yesterday as well on Game Pass.
And how was it?
I started it up after downloading it very quickly. I'll get onto why I downloaded it very quickly later in the show. But downloaded it, and I'd heard it was buggy, and the frame rate was choppy as hell in the tutorial. And I was like, no, I haven't got time for this. I wouldn't mind playing South of Midnight anyway.
But you can't see frame rates, Tim, as you've said so many times on this show. How would that affect you?
There's not seeing frame
Master
rates.
of frame rates don't matter.
It's chugging to like 1 frame a minute. You know what I mean? Like, and I'd heard it was generally a bit buggy anyway. And I don't know about you, but in my experience, games like XCOM and other tactical strategy stuff, I don't know why, but they always seem to launch with a lot of bugs and a lot of problems. So I'm going to give that one at least a week to breathe and have some updates before I jump into it. So I'll probably jump into that for next week.
Especially the RTS Starship Troopers, that always tends to load with loads of bugs in it. Loads of bugs. Loads of bugs, Tim. Starship Troopers, Tim.
Yeah.
Loads of bugs.
Shame.
Don't let the bugs win, Colin.
Shame.
Nah. Loads of bugs, Tim. Starship Troopers, Tim. Anyway, so you didn't play that?
No, basically.
No.
I played it very briefly, but not enough to form a concise opinion other than, that frame rate is hellish. I'll come back.
Well, I just to kind of also diverge into something else that I've been playing. I was messing around with the Steam Deck and went, I wonder if I can get Assassin's Creed 1 running it well.
Yeah.
And I assumed you could. I know that there was problems at launch, on launch of the Steam Deck because of the Ubisoft Uplay app and all that stuff usually causes some kind of issue. And I got into it for some reason.
Continuum.
Yeah, I got into it. There was some issue with the controllers, and I looked on some forums, and they went, "Oh, you need to switch it to Xbox controller." I was like, "Yeah, no problem, I can do that."
Okay, yeah.
Switch to Xbox. Still didn't do it. And I've uninstalled it, reinstalled it, looked at different setups, and
Did you try turning it off and on again, Coleman?
No, I tried a multitude of different things, and then I realized that I tried this endeavor once before, and I downloaded a custom control scheme, which didn't work. And I'd previously, it saved that I had that set. So I was messing around trying to fix something that I caused, thinking that I was just like, this doesn't work with the Steam Deck. Anyway, it works now and it's great. And then I stopped playing and went to the Stick of Truth. So I'm replaying South Park Stick of Truth at the moment.
I mean, that's a bold and good decision, I think, basically.
Yeah,
that is good.
I just decided I needed some comedy.
Yeah. Screw you guys. I'm going to South Park.
I just need to lighten the mood. on my trips to and from work because I'm working very hard.
I mean, that checks out.
That's why we've got no TikToks out this week because I'm working too hard. Anywho, right. This so South of Midnight. It's out now. It's on PC. It's on
not
Xbox
South
Series
Park
X.
of Midnight. No,
South Park of Midnight and the Stick of Butthole. I think that was the name of the game.
And the Stick of Weaving.
Yes. So it's out now. It's out on PC. It's Xbox Series X and S. It is $34.99 if you're on PC. It's $39.99 if you're on console. But more importantly, it's available on Xbox Game Pass. Which we did talk about when we were doing the Xbox Developer Direct. What was that? Like a month ago, 2 months ago, and I've said South of Midnight is one that caught my eye because they did this whole stop motion style video for it, and I went, "Oh, I like that art style." Turns out that's not the game. No, no. And
it's the cutscenes.
Then we got
does look nice in the cutscenes.
Yes, and then we got an actual look at the gameplay, the developer direct, and I don't know. I like the style. I like the premise. It had a lot to do with kind of the Bayou type fables and urban myths, and that stuff is really cool to me. And I like that setting in a lot of different things. So yeah, decided all in for this. Gameplay looked a bit meh, but it's out now. We're playing. Tim, what do you think?
Right. Like you, I was a little bit wary. I think I spoke about this in the, it was in the category of ones to watch, but it didn't quite make my top list. It was one I was interested to see how it came out, but I was a bit wary of it for a couple of reasons. I think one of the things we spoke about was that the graphics didn't match up to what we'd seen in terms of, the cutscene type animation, but then also I was unwary of the gameplay. And I think that slightly tempered my opinion going in, but I think I've got over this now. I will preface it with that, but at least initially it didn't create the best impression of me from a gameplay perspective. I like the design, I like the world, and that's what kept me going past those initial concerns. And I like just the aesthetic and the setting and everything else is cool, but the story is good, and that's the thing that's got its hooks into me. But both from a combat and traversal kind of, platforming type standpoint, I was wary at first until it started unlocking a few things. The combat felt like both the combat and the platforming, in fact, felt a bit floaty.
Right.
Like there wasn't much heft to either of them, or weight to your character, or heft to the actual attacking and dodging style mechanics within the combat.
Okay. Yeah. So how far are you in the game so far?
I am about a good chunk of the way into chapter 3. Like I realized I wasn't going to get to the end of it before bed last night and was past my bedtime. So I was like, okay, I better stop here. But
so I've just beaten Two-Toe Tom, is it? The big alligator that we see in the trailers.
I haven't got to that yet. So you're ahead of me then. I have yet to catch back up with the giant catfish. See, this all sounds like nonsense to anyone that hasn't played the game.
It sounds very Bayou.
Bayou.
I found, I wouldn't say floaty for the combat. It took some getting used to, but a lot of this combat seems to be platforming, using different abilities to traverse the world. And then when you suddenly get to an area, kind of like a Devil May Cry, you get locked into a small combat area, defeat all the enemies, and then you're back to the combating. Back to the exploration. Be that the Uncharted style climbing, or the kind of Forspoken style power moving. And I did notice as well, if anyone that moaned about Forspoken, and I will say I loved Forspoken. If anyone who moaned about Forspoken saying, I hate the way they talk, I hate the dialogue of this character, and then they say this is amazing, we're gonna have words, because like I said, when everyone was going, I hate this dialogue, it's like a Marvel movie. It's like, but the Marvel movies are, they're incredibly popular, and someone likes the
People like
writing
them.
and the witticism and the quipping and all that kind of stuff. And that's what's happening here. And it does do that thing of the tropes of character just constantly talking to themselves, doing a little lore dump, explaining what the situation is, just trying to catch you up. And then it's a lot of quips and things dropped in. But yeah, sorry, just because I said Forspoken, it just reminded me of that.
But you're entirely right. It did, and I don't know if it's just the lead characters share some similarities in being an American black girl, and that kind of leads you to think of that. But it feels gameplay wise, and like you say, the kind of attitude wise, like there are some similarities there as well, enough to make you. I mean, it's a third-person action game as well, which, kind of leads into that. But yeah, there's definitely some similarities there that reminded me of that game. Of games I've played recently, that's the one that came to mind the most, I think. So yeah, I don't think you're wrong there.
Yes. So on with the game. The story rolls around Hazel, who's the young woman you'll see in the trailers and the footage we're showing on screen. And she lives with her mother out in the Bayou, and there's some kind of storm that ends up taking their little shanty shack away down the river, and she leaving her mother inside the shack, and she chases after it. They're losing her, and then going out into the world to try and rescue her mother. She finds out she has powers of something they call a weaver, which everyone in this world seems to know apart from her. But she can see that kind of these threads of every living thing and object around her, and she can weave them to use powers, pulling.
On that note, to interrupt you for a second as well, sorry to do so, but have you noticed how threading and weaving is the new, like, I don't know, it's kind of replaced like blood magic, or like it seems to be a trend at the moment. Is that Eternal Strands game that I talked about a while back, and that was all about, like, it wasn't magic, it's weaving and strands and all that type of stuff.
Are you telling me this is the next Strand game from Hideo Kojima, Tim?
It's all about strands. He was ahead of the time. Like, I don't know where all the strands came from, but now I'm seeing them. And I didn't see them before he mentioned it. That's what I'm saying. No, but there seems to be a few games. I can't remember. There was another one that talked about weaving and stranding and stuff. And I haven't seen it, but there's that. Is it Wheel of Life or something? Anyway, it's a Prime series thing that I haven't read the
Wheel
books.
of Time.
Wheel of Time. And yeah, does that talk about that as well? I don't know if there's an external influence to video games that have influenced the terminology that's crept into video games, because I swear there's 3 games where there's weaving and strands around at the moment as well, basically. But
I don't know. Maybe there's something about female protagonists, and they just like going, "What are women like doing? Weaving." And you go, you've taken your progressive look, and you've gone back. You've taken 1 step forward, 2 steps back, guys. What are you playing at?
I will crochet you to death.
Well, it was like, what was the BRB Flicks argument? I think it was about Brave, and you got this character, the heroine, who's trying so hard not to be like the stereotype female protagonist character, and at the end she wins by sewing or something like. It's been a while since I watched Brave, but anyway. So yes, Hazel's trying to get hold of her mother, trying to rescue her mother. Sorry, she finds out she has powers of a weaver, and there's a narrative reason, things that are going on in the past, and she can see kind of echoes of the past that lead her along her way. And she also lives in a world of magical creatures, which seems to take her by surprise. But much like the whole thing of the Weaver, as you progress through the game, it seems like every single person around you knows about these magical creatures and beings other than you. So
what I took from that is her mother's tried to shelter her from all of this, and we don't entirely know why yet, possibly. I don't know, that's just a theory. I don't know if that's
probably
the case.
A Weaver. She's probably a Weaver.
Probably
a Weaver.
Been weaving away.
But there's a moment where Two-Toe Tom, who's this gigantic alligator, again, that was the boss fight you saw in the developer direct, and in the video we were showing here. And a giant alligator looks like an island, big trees growing on his back. It's got a mouth kind of semi-made of wood, it looks like. And when you first encounter it, she's like, "Oh my God, what the hell is that? That thing is gigantic. What is it?" And then immediately it's like you talk to people that you know every day, and they're like, "Oh, that's Two-Toe Tom, a gigantic alligator that we just all know about."
Oh, we thought we just wouldn't tell you about it.
Yeah, a little bit silly. But I am enjoying it. I'm kind of it's got this weird thing where, so it has the, as we spoken, the stop motion style, which again is just for the cutscenes. It looks really good. In the main world, they kind of try to emulate that by changing the frame rate of the characters compared to the world around them, and be that the enemies or the actual protagonist you're playing as. And it's kind of weird because at times it looks like the game's not performing correctly, and sometimes I don't think the game is performing correctly.
It covers
but you can't tell if and you can't tell if it's a stylistic choice or if or if there's a tech issue at hand here. And I do think there's a fair few tech issues at hand, but it seems to be disguised by that frame rate thing.
Is it me, or is the timing of the combat a bit weird? Like, it's okay when you get used to it and when you've unlocked a few powers so that you can interrupt attacks. But I found that, like, even though they kind of tell you that attacks are coming with a little, like, red arrow type thing, it seems
they're really hard to get out of the way of.
Yeah, like to do in time. Like, you almost have to predict that they're going to attack you. Like, okay, if I get 2 attacks in, then I know they're going to attack me, so I'll just dodge. Like, I don't think you can dodge as a reaction to one of their attacks, almost, kind of thing.
I found the trick is to count to 3 and then dodge. But I know exactly what you mean. There's this, like a charge attack one of the enemies does, and there's a big red marker that appears when they're going to do it. And you know, my reaction would be dodge, 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 wait till they've done their attack and then start attacking.
Yeah.
But it's like dodge, 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 they hit me anyway. And I can't, and it took me a while to work out that timing. But yes, it takes some getting used to.
Also, it does seem to be that the default position, because if you dodge at the perfect time, you do like an attack that knocks people back and stuff as well. So it does seem to be that the default position is not to like stand still and then dodge at the right moment. It's almost like dodge, dodge, dodge. And if you're not attacking, dodge. Like dodge, dodge, duck, dive, and dodge. But
yeah.
I don't know. It just seems a bit weird. But as I said, as I've unlocked a bit more of the skills and the spells, as they refer to them, that you can use to kind of interrupt attacks and do other stuff, the combat, I think, has improved.
Yeah. I will say there is something we haven't mentioned, and it's probably the best part of this game.
Yeah.
Soundtrack.
Ah. Yeah.
Got an amazing soundtrack. Like,
good.
Sometimes it feels like it doesn't fit, but a lot of the times it does. Like there's a whole moment where there's this big tragedy going around, like you're running after the house going down the river, and it's this kind of plinky plonky, janky, really fun Louisiana style music. And I was like, this is really cool. Like, I love this music, but it does not fit the tone of this at all. And then there's other times where, I mean, there are moments where especially when you get to kind of the big character of this chapter, so the big tree. But they kind of make a song with vocals about that character that kind of tells you the story that you've just learned, which is quite funny. But at the same time, yeah, bit on the nose, but cool.
I had a question for you, Coleman, but now I have another question. So I'll interrupt you by saying, I have a question.
Yeah.
And then say, what is the appropriate music for when your mum's floating away in your house? Is there an appropriate musical tune for that?
I can't think of a funny answer off the top of my head.
Okay.
I need more practice for this.
All right. Come back to that one in a second. We'll ask you a question the second.
Oh, I'm sailing away.
Sailing away. Okay.
Come sail away.
Come sail away.
It sticks. I can't remember who said it.
Bit of Enya, bit of Orinoco Flow.
Oh, Orinoco Flow's a good one. Yeah.
Right. Question the second though. How are you getting on? Because this is one of the first games that I've seen that has a spider warning at the beginning. How are you getting on with the giant Musif spiders that I know you're somewhat scared of?
It's not a real spider. It's got a woman's body. It's got a woman's face. It's not a real spider.
What are you saying about women, Coleman?
It's got a woman face.
Women can be spiders too.
Woman face, not scare me. No, I'm doing all right. Look, I had a problem with the spiders in VR. They were jumping at my face.
Right.
Playing this normal game, regular game, is not
with a regular woman spider.
Not a very spidery looking woman, but yeah. I really enjoy this. And I've been
Okay.
playing this. So I've been playing this on the Series X, which performs very well. And I've been playing this on Game Pass on the Steam Deck on my
Okay,
lunch
yeah.
break. So
Also
it's
good.
the browser Game Pass version
Right,
of it.
yep.
Right. So streaming, you get a little bit of a bit of crushing of the bit rate, but it still performs very well as long as you've got a fast enough internet speed. Been enjoying this. I like this.
Okay.
I'm going to carry on with this.
I've been playing it on the Xbox Series S. Seems to perform reasonably well, and looks good. Like I'm on a real roll of games looking very good on the Series S and continuing to impress me with how much they're getting out of their little white box. Doing well. It's good.
Little white box. Okay, South Midnight. That sounds like a recommend from both of us. That is available once again. PC, Xbox Series X and S is out now. $34.99, $39.99, and on Game Pass. I did put out to see if anyone had any impressions on our Discord. Nitwit came back. He said he had low expectations going into South Midnight. Didn't think the art style or the animation seemed particularly appealing, and he wasn't crazy about the devs' past work. But the motion in the game looks amazing. Visually, it comes together really well. It's a gorgeous game. He's pleasantly surprised about how much he's enjoying South of Midnight despite some shortcomings. And for more topics from Nitwit, go check out the Glitch Report podcast.
Yeah. I would say I'm glad it's on Game Pass and I've got to play it. I'm not sure A, I would have bought it generally, or B, I would have been entirely happy but paying £35 to £40. But I'm glad that I get to experience it and play it without having to make that sort of commitment.
I haven't checked if it's verified for Steam Deck or how well it performs natively on the Steam Deck, but I probably would have gone for a PC version had I not gone for Game Pass. I literally just went for this because of Game Pass. And there's a lot of games coming out, and most of them seem to be in April. So
yeah.
We're doing all right for I can't wait for Expedition 33, Tim.
Does look good.
Can't wait. Looks great.
I'm not sure it's my
Looks
favorite.
French.
But Game Pass is spoiling me, Coleman. I don't know if you want to save this for a wider conversation at another time, but it's devaluing my ability. And look, finances being what they are at the moment, this is probably a good thing, but it's devaluing my ability to want to spend full price on a game when I feel I'm getting full price experiences for a cut price, and I can just wait for it to come to Game Pass or PlayStation Plus.
That is a dangerous thing, but that's always been a danger since they started giving games away. I'm sure we've said once or twice on this show, I'll wait till it goes to PlayStation Plus. I'll wait till it goes to Game Pass. I tend to avoid that. If I like the look of something and it's not on anything, I'll pick it up just because I'm excited for it. Death Stranding's not going to launch on any platform. And it's going to be a £70 game. I'm still going to pick that up.
Yeah, but for instance, like we spoke about a few weeks ago, I would normally have picked up Assassin's Creed Shadows because it's the big game at the moment, and it's
already down to like £43.
Exactly. I mean,
Ubisoft have a serious pricing
But that doesn't
problem.
help my ability to want to pick it up on day one. The fact that I know that only a few weeks down the line they'll probably go, on a grand reduction, doesn't make me want to pick up a game day one anymore at the moment, basically. And it's not exactly good for the show. And we do have the slight benefit, and I haven't even taken advantage of this in the last few weeks, but the slight benefit of getting access to review copies of things. But yeah, I think it's more Game Pass than anything, and that is hampering my ability to want to spend like 70 quid on a full price game at the moment, basically.
Yeah. No, I understand it. It is difficult to do that. It's difficult. It's very difficult to get out of that kind of hole when you go into it. Because I have money issues myself.
Yeah,
and you get a streaming service or you get the cheap sales and stuff, and kind of I don't know. I've always felt that Game Pass especially, PlayStation Plus now because it's basically Game Pass, but that thing of launching brand new games onto a streaming platform is quite dangerous because it can devalue that game. If it's going to launch there. Like, for instance, I would have bought Tony Hawk's 3 and 4, the remaster, I would have picked that up day one. I would have put down
Yeah.
whatever you were charging for that, up to £70. And now they've gone, it's launching on Game Pass. I go, well, I'm not buying that PlayStation copy. I'll just play it on Game Pass until I get bored, and then I'll stop playing it.
But see, for me, why would I buy Assassin's Creed Shadows when I've still got a Vow to play, when I've got Atomfall that's come out, when I've got South of Midnight, when I've got Commando's Origins? Like, I've got as much games as I can fill my time with. Why would I then spend another £70 on a game that I might... Well, I'm pretty sure I would not finish that game at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, I might play a bit so I can talk about it on the show, but that's a much harder justification of 70 quid. And especially the prices of games are going up. That's going to get a harder thing to justify as well. So, yeah.
Can I tell you about the bargain I got last week?
You certainly can.
We stopped
I
recording.
like a bargain,
Yes,
Coleman.
I'm really chuffed about this. So I went to put down my pre-order for Death Stranding 2. And then I thought, I wonder how many points I've got saved up on the game collection.
I forgot my points. I may have missed my points. Anyway.
But there's games coming out before Death Stranding. So I was checking out what's coming out before, what's not coming to Game Pass. And Game Pass. And there's something that I've got my eye on, and it's called Lost Soul Aside. We were talking about it at the PlayStation State of Play. Hack and slash, Japanese looking, kind of Final Fantasy looking, amazing, really fast. I hope it plays this well kind of game. And I think it might be Korean, but it looks like Final Fantasy Japanese style. That's why I said that. Right. But I'm pretty sure this is a £70 full price game, PS5 exclusive. Physical, found it for £57.95.
Let's
Put
get
my
physical.
points in. Put my points in. Got it for £11.49, Tim.
That's a lot of points, Coleman. You've bought a lot of games previously.
I've been taking advantage of whenever. So they will do a thing. If you buy games, you get points, and you can use those points to buy more games. They will do deals on the game collection, and I've been just very careful of when I buy games and pre-order games, because there are ones you can get, and then you get £10 worth of points back, or double points, and all this kind of stuff. So I've, through I think I bought 3 or 4 games to get that many points saved up. So I've been quite happy about that. And even then, I think I got double points for pre-ordering that. So
points mean prices, Coleman.
Yeah. So those points now go towards Death Stranding, and I'm waiting for a deal on Death Stranding 2, because I'm pretty sure there'll be one before that launches. But yeah, I'm very proud of that. That little saving I got there. Shall we talk some news?
Yes, do that.
Okay, so it's hard not to talk about Nintendo Switch 2, and we will in a moment. But before we do that, BAFTA Game Awards happened, Tim, which you may not have noticed, because usually when we cover this stuff, it's been tied to Rezzed, which doesn't really exist anymore.
Oh,
and I know, and even WASD doesn't exist anymore. It's the world is changing. It's now all about the London Games Festival, which I'm still unsure what that is, and I'm too scared to ask at this point.
It feels a bit nebulous these days without an actual proper event.
Yeah,
but
it's like they just go, "Hey, there's a month that's called London Game Festival. Cool. What's the EGX replacement?" As far as I could tell, there was an event we could have gone to as influencers or paid for, but they couldn't tell us any of the games in the lineup, and I'm still unsure what it is. And I think it was in the Science Museum. I don't know. But BAFTA happened. Quick rundown of some of the stuff, because there's some really good things here, I thought, in these awards, and some very
They're
just
pretty
ones.
Spot on with their awards. Usually, they seem to do well.
Yes, trying to find the game. I think the game of the year is Astrobot. Is that right? Yes,
I think so.
Correct.
I mean, it got lots of other awards, so that would make sense.
It did. Astrobot. So along with best game, it got best animation, audio achievement, which makes sense, best family game, and I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. So it won 4 awards. Not bad. But yeah, following on from the Game Awards, Astrobot clearing up this year. Last year, technically.
Hoovering things up.
Yes, some interesting ones. Artistic achievement, Neva, which makes sense because that was basically a Studio Ghibli game. You've got best British game. I'm so happy.
Yes.
Thank goodness you're here. Wins best British game, and that makes so much sense because yes, British talent all over that game. So cool.
I'm guessing Atomfall was too late for this year's awards, so hopefully I might sneak in next year.
That'll be the 2026 BAFTA, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Best debut game, Balatro, makes sense.
Yes. Good pick. Well done.
Best evolving game, Vampire Survivors. Has that story mode launched in that? Do you know? I know Stephanie Sterling was working on a story mode.
I saw her talking about it the other day. I don't know if it's actually launched. Not sure. But yeah.
I tried playing that a little while ago when I was doing that Sparta clone version of Vampire Survivors. And I went, well, if I like this so much, I should like Vampire Survivors. So I installed that. I don't like it.
But that's the thing, like when you're the first game that's it's kind of spawned its own subgenre now. So there's kind of, a lot of games are going to take that formula and take their own spin on it and possibly add another layer of interest that then going back to the original, it might seem a bit bland kind of thing.
Yeah, I just found it slow. Helldivers 2 got a couple awards. They got Best Technical Achievement, they got the Best Music, and the Best Multiplayer, which makes sense. Yes. And then Best New Intellectual Property, Still Wakes the Deep. Another British game that I was enjoying. Yeah. All right. I think that'll... Best Technical Achievement, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2.
Mm-hmm.
I believe is a very, very short game compared to what was advertised.
And I still didn't finish it, but still.
Yeah, and I still didn't go back and play the first game. I should do that. Now I have a Xbox Series X. That seems like something I should be doing.
Yes, seems like a good showcase for it.
Yes. Anyway, BAFTA. We'll report on that again next year, I'm sure. So, a lot's happened since the announcement. Well, since the Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct that we reported on last week. There has been they've been trotting out some of the studio leads to go, hey, here's all your questions answered. Even though we're not quite answering the questions you're asking, we're pivoting in a slight different way, including Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it $10 for that clearly a pack-in game? The Welcome Tour, the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. That's because the Nintendo Switch 2, Tim, I don't know if you know this, it's quite a robust system. And players might be wondering, they might be wondering what are the features of the Nintendo Switch 2. So therefore, they should buy this clearly pack-in game.
I thought it was just because Nintendo likes money. Might be wrong.
Do not peer behind the man. Do not peer at the man behind the curtain, Tim.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did see an interview with Doug Bowser, and they didn't ask that question.
Oh no, not the Doug Bowser interview. You've reminded me.
Yeah. Why?
Doug Bowser. Bowser. Reggie Fils-Aimé, you are not. He did. Was it GQ?
But he does have a cool name that's very Nintendo-y.
He does. I can't remember.
Doesn't
if it was
have a spiky shell, though.
Vanity.
So
he was doing an interview, and they went, "Hey, the pricing. People aren't happy about the pricing." And he went, "Well, we've got an answer for that. It's called the Nintendo Switch." And I went, "Oh my God, Doug Bowser just did a Don Matt trick. He just did a Don Matt trick.
You people have mobile phones, right?
You just called us brokies, dude. Told us to stick with a 8-year-old console."
It's a bit hard. It's not a console for 8-year-olds, Coleman.
Well, it doesn't have any. Well, actually, no, it does have some.
It's got very colourful Joy-Cons, but
yeah, a bit of a weird interview I thought on that one. So there was a lot of things floating around, but one of the biggest pieces of news was that the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders went live in the US, and then they weren't.
And then
they got taken. They weren't live anymore.
Like so many things in the next few years in America, blame Trump.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So Trump's got the whole thing with the tariffs. The idea is to keep
lovely
manufacturing.
Tariffs. Perfect tariffs.
Love the tariffs.
Beautiful tariffs.
Beautiful tariffs. Want to keep their workers inside the US. So,
moron.
Nintendo were kind of prepared for this in a way, but they didn't. I don't think they were quite prepared to the extent. Well, they were trying to prepare for this. So the idea was take the manufacturing out of China, as they were originally doing, and send it to Vietnam as well, so they won't get targeted by Trump if he should get into power. And Trump did get into power and pushed on with these tariffs. And the Vietnam tariffs are prepared to go into effect. So there are tariffs on the manufacturing of the Nintendo Switch 2 for Nintendo.
It's even tougher if you're a penguin. Poor penguin. Did you hear about that?
Go on.
They
Humanly.
put tariffs on an island entirely populated by penguins. There's no people there.
I like that.
Yeah.
Them
Good work.
little chocolate biscuit gits have been getting away with it for too long.
pick up a tariff. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we could go on about that, but we're not a political podcast, so we won't go on about too much. But yeah,
I do like doing the voice though.
He's already paused the tariffs for 90 days.
Yeah.
Which actually, from a UK perspective, and I haven't ever heard anyone talk about this, that actually harmed us more than the tariffs were before, because the tariffs before, like most of the rest of the world had higher than 10%. And now he's paused them. Everything's 10%. So we've got the same bad deal as everyone else now. But before we had a slightly better deal than most places. So he's actually made it worse for us. Brilliant. Well done. Thanks.
Anywho, so the pre-orders, so the launch is meant to be June the 5th. And initially the pre-orders were meant to take place on the 9th of April. And that's been paused because of the imposing tariffs. They're not sure what's going to happen with, impending tariffs. Imposing makes sense as well, I guess, in this
yes,
in this case.
do.
Any tariffs is imposing. So they're not sure. They're not sure if there's going to be an increase in price because of the tariffs or what's going on. At the moment, the price tag in the US is still $449.99 US dollars. That's not changed yet, but fans are worried that could change. Also, Canadian pre-orders have also apparently been halted for the very same reason.
Yeah.
Which seems odd.
Blame Canada.
That's what you get for taking Jack Daniels off your shelves in opposition for that.
But they are still slightly better off for having moved to Vietnam than China, because Vietnam, I think, is on the same 10% now and might be higher later. But I think China's currently, and this may have changed by the last time I heard it, but China's currently on 125% tariffs, which is, that's not great.
I will tell you something while we're on the topic of the pre-order of the Nintendo Switch 2, and that is don't order from Game. Apparently that's a shambles. Game have been paring back from, get this, Tim, selling games. So you don't pre-order the Switch 2 from Game. But also,
I don't think I've pre-ordered anything from them since I ordered my PSVR 1 from them, and that went horribly wrong, so I've stopped pre-ordering.
I ordered a Switch 2 for a family friend, and when they got it,
that family friend you?
No, they had horrible stick drift, and they went, "How do I get
Switch
that sorted?"
2.
Sorry, Switch, a Switch, initial Switch.
You got your friend is a time traveler.
Sorry, I got a Switch from Game. I ordered it for a family friend, and they had horrible stick drift when they arrived, and they were like, "How do I?"
They should see a doctor about that.
So
maybe Dr.
reach out
Dan
to
when he's back.
Nintendo, and Nintendo at the time they didn't do the whole extended warranty thing that they would, and they went, "Hey, you got to send it to the store that you bought it from," and it was a whole rigmarole, and it was basically Nintendo blaming Game blaming Nintendo, and I just bought them new Joy-Cons in the end. So that was the last time I dealt with Game. The other thing was the whole pre-ordering directly through Nintendo Limited thing. If you've got an account and you're a family member and you've got 50 hours of playtime and all that stuff.
I quite like that though. That's quite a nice
shows dedication to the
protectionism thing. I like it.
I couldn't pre-order directly through Nintendo because of that, and that has ruined my scalping plans.
Why? You've surely played your Switch for more than 50 hours.
I'm not a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber, Tim.
Neither am I.
Been for a couple of years now. So I couldn't pre-order through Nintendo. And you would have had to have already have been a subscriber. You couldn't just go, "Oh, quick, reactivate my account so I can pre-order." You already had to be by the time of announcement.
That's a bit short-sighted. And they could have made it so that if you had an existing account previously, you could reactivate it to get it. That would be a better move. Because then
But the
that's
other
good for
thing-
them. Lots of people reactivating their accounts. You would have thought.
So I did register my interest at the initial announcement, and I
Right.
got, as I mentioned last week, I got a bunch of emails saying, "Hey, no, you're not successful in the first
No
round," all
Switch
that kind of
2
stuff.
for you.
I did get an email from
Yep.
Currys,
Okay.
who I bought my Xbox through them. I bought my PlayStation 5 through them. I thought, okay, Currys. Let's
Don't
give
so
that
many
a go.
curries, though. Have you noticed?
Maybe, yes. Good joke, Tim. Welcome to the 80s. I thought, am I going to pre-order a Nintendo Switch? Let's click
Very
this link and
dismissive.
see what it says. Do you
Really
know what?
bitchy.
Do you know what the Currys pre-order system is? You register your interest.
Korma?
You register your interest, and they go, okay, do you want to pre-order a Switch 2? And you go, oh,
Yeah.
yes, please. And you follow the link, and it goes, go to a store.
Okay, that's even more dismissive than you.
I work a lot of hours. I haven't got time to go to a store.
They're all out of town these days anyway, Coleman. So, takes a bit longer
I
to
can
get
believe
to.
it. Anyway, so that's fine. Absolutely, as we could have predicted, all the third-party stuff, all the pre-orders for Switches are going up on eBay and getting absolutely inflated numbers. So,
Oh.
hey-ho.
Beautiful
we tried.
tariffs.
Yes. Anyway, Nintendo's having a fun old time of it. I'm sure we'll have more Nintendo Switch news before the launch. Switch 2, that
Okay.
is.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, on the news, as I said, very, very quiet week for news, unless you're writing about the Nintendo Switch 2. There seems to be a lot about Nintendo
Makes
Switch
sense.
2 and not much else. We spoke a little bit a while ago about two gamers that were threatening to sue Ubisoft over The Crew. Well, The Crew.
Ubisoft.
2014's The Crew. Not The Crew 2, The Crew. Where Ubisoft, since this initial threat of a lawsuit, they went and took The Crew 2 and changed it so you could play it offline,
Mm-hmm.
which thus future-proofs it for when they inevitably shut the servers down for that game. But The Crew, no such luck. If you wanted to play that game, those servers are done. You can't go in and play that game. You can't race across America in 2014 fashion anymore. Two players from California, they've been suing Ubisoft because of they criticized Ubisoft for not providing an offline patch, and also for not sufficiently relaying that they don't own the game. They're just renting the game.
I've been telling that to people
pay-
for years.
We know this as savvy businessmen and podcasters ourselves, Tim. We know that no game is owned. Everything is only as far as that publisher wants you to play that game, or that game store wants you to play. It can go away because this is life now. Even old games that are offline, are subject to batteries running out in cartridges that have been soldered in. We're subject to disk rot, as we've now found out. Yeah.
See a doctor about that as well.
PlayStation, Dreamcast, those games, they are subject to rotting away. They might not be playable anymore. Even consoles. We can have consoles with batteries built into them that could have exploded in your attic by now.
Uh-oh.
If you got a PSP or a Vita, maybe
take
go
the
check
battery
those.
out. I went and took my battery out of my PSP. It expanded quite a lot by the time I got to it.
Mine's in a box and a lockup, and I am a little bit worried.
You should get to that.
We'll see. But yes, so in response, Ubisoft have finally spoken about this. They said that players were clearly informed that they're purchasing a limited license, not complete ownership of The Crew 2014.
Like we always said.
Yeah, they cited packaging disclaimers, noticed that customers receive the product as advertised, and they seek to dismiss the case while plaintiffs push for a jury trial. So keep an eye on this.
Think it'll happen.
I don't know. I like if it does happen because they're talking about a tiny little bit of font on the back of a game back of a game pack. I would like, there has been things recently. There was a whole thing where Steam now have to start putting out, hey, you're not buying a game. You don't own this game. You're paying for a license to play this game that could be taken away from you at any moment. You have to know of this. I'm not saying there's a way they're going to change this, that all these games that could be taken away, won't be taken away, but I'm saying that there has to be bigger kind of rules in place to say that absolutely make that clear.
Yeah, I support their endeavors in trying to get this done. I'm not saying that isn't a bad thing. I don't particularly care about the crew, but like, if you don't set judicial precedents, this will never be the case. And I do think there is an argument to be said that if you're buying a premium price product, you should have access to that for, not a reasonable amount of time, like beyond them maintaining their servers.
Beyond.
I do think there is an argument to be made that they should provide an offline mode for a game that's predominantly online. I can see that argument. The problem becomes is like, how much do they actually have to provide? How much of the original game experience has to be there? That gets into a sticky thing. But I think because this is a known thing about games and something we've spoken about for years, that you don't own a game, you own a limited license to the game. You've never bought a video game before in your life, as I like to kind of phrase it. Like, you don't own the rights to sell that game to anyone else. It's the kind of same type of thing. Like, as in, you don't own the license to, you own a limited license to a video game, not the overall license. It's a known thing. I think they'll really struggle to argue this through court. And I would imagine if their lawyers are decent, that they've told them that it's very unlikely that this will go to jury and very unlikely that they'll be
Damn it,
successful
Tim,
in
they
their
want
argument.
their day in court.
That's fine. And as I said, I salute their endeavors. It's never going to change the way companies do things unless you go through this process. So congratulations for that. I wish them luck. I just don't think it will be successful.
Right. I want more. I mean, again, we know this stuff. We know this stuff. We do a video games podcast. We are quite well informed anyway.
Yes.
And outside of that as well, we're just big gamers. We know this stuff. We listen
try and
to
inform
other
people as
gaming
well.
podcasts. We read articles and stuff. I'm talking about Joe Public, Mr. EA.
Don't have a go about Joe.
One game, two game, a Call of Duty and previously FIFA player. That's all they do. They buy 2 games a year. I know enough of them. They can play 2 games a year, and they're under the impression that game is their game. They've bought that game. That game is theirs to play forever. They don't realize that one day the servers get shut off and you can't play that game. In some cases, 1 year after the game replayed. In Concord's case, you could have bought that game and it went away a couple of weeks after
I'm sorry.
launch.
If you bought Concord, you knew what you were getting into. I think, didn't they give a refund on most of those people that bought the game?
Had to.
So, yeah.
They had to.
Exactly.
I could see a world. I could see a world where someone who likes playing like multiplayer shooters online, doesn't really play a lot of games, saw an advert for Concord or saw it in a store and went, "What's this? A multiplayer shooter online? Oh, and it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy. This looks just my kind of thing. Let me get in on that." Oh, what's happened? Oh, it's gone.
Do you think I can sue EA and get the £3 back for my copy of Anthem?
No. No, because it's still technically playable online. It's in maintenance mode, but it's playable. Same as the Avengers. Same as what was the other one I was thinking of? Suicide Squad. They're still technically playable online. They're just in maintenance mode.
But then, see, I'm trying to think. I don't know online games well enough to know this. But say, is the original Overwatch still playable? I don't even know. Is that a thing? Is it like, do they have service for that still?
That's a weird one because they took all the content from Overwatch and tied it into and just basically forwarded it into Overwatch 2. So Overwatch is Overwatch 2. If you I think if you had Overwatch, they patched the launcher and everything, so it just boots up Overwatch 2.
I'm not sure about.
Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't play Overwatch 2. I barely played Overwatch 1.
But then what about a game that's entirely an online service? And I don't know if this is the case with something like WoW or the KOTOR game that's all only online and stuff like that. Like, if the experience is entirely an online experience, like what would a gaming company have to preserve to give you that experience if they can't afford to maintain the servers, ad infinitum forever? Like, it gets into a very weird argument of what you need to, like, when is a video game not a video game? Like, when it's not the same experience as it was at launch, which it never is because it always gets patched and changed and updated. And
those two specific examples, the MMOs, if those servers shut down, I mean, and we've seen it. We saw, when the absolute meteoric rise of World of Warcraft happened, we just saw all these competitors or so-be competitors try to run out the gate and bring out all these MMOs, and a bunch of them failed, a bunch of them shut down.
Yeah.
A lot of them now exist because of fan service. They've created their own server and brought it up, and they've not been sued into oblivion, so they can keep them going. So that case, it's down to very passionate fan bases. But if the company just closed it, Blizzard went away tomorrow, they're gone. You can't play that game anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. Server's gone.
Blizzard just melting in the sun, hey?
So yes, there are cases. There are many cases of games that could go away, have gone away, will go away. Even so much as there are a bunch of Xbox games that I bought on the 360 that were digital only that got taken off the store after I bought them. I could still download them. I have to navigate a horrible system to get them, but they could take those away from me.
But wouldn't that be the argument with The Crew? Because The Crew was pitched as a online experience, a car MMO, a MMO, or whatever Dan referred to it as. And yeah. And so wasn't that the point of the game? So what I agree that there should be an offline version of it if you've bought the game that you have access to. I kind of agree with that. But if they were cultivating an experience that isn't that and won't be preserved in the way that it was meant, almost what is the point in preserving it? You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like you'll get the same game.
I went to reach out for my copy of The Crew and realized it's in a lockup somewhere. But that's the thing. Again, Joe Public, you go to a store, you see The Crew, you see Cars, you see PlayStation 4, you go, oh, cool.
Cars.
Pick that up. You look on the back and
Pixar's
it's like
Cars.
Multiplayer. You see Cars drive all across the USA. And then you
Sounds
see
good.
online
Apart from the
required.
tariffs.
But you see smaller font. You see online required, PlayStation
No one
Plus
reads
required.
that bit, Coleman.
But then, no. But then, even tiny little font right to the bottom in that little white blurb at the bottom.
Yep.
It says, "You are not buying a game. You are renting. You are licensing to play all that kind of stuff." So, you might be under the impression, "Oh, cool. There's a game I can play. I have PlayStation Plus. I have the internet. I can play this online." There's nothing to suggest immediately when I'm purchasing this game that it's going to be taken away from me someday. I don't know. Just playing devil's avocado.
Shouldn't play devil's avocado.
Anyway, I think we've
Tariffs
stretched enough
on
out of
avocados at the moment, Coleman. Oof.
I've got you're tariff mad today. I think we should leave it there and come back to this when more news comes out about because I am genuinely interested about how this lawsuit goes down.
Okay.
I would like to know if
I bet it fails. I wish them success, but I bet it fails.
They should have their day in court.
They probably
I just want, if we're complaining about prices of games going up, we're complaining about services being tied into the new Nintendo Switch has a button that you won't be able to use unless you pay however much a month, and I guarantee that price is going up once the Switch 2 launches.
Can use the A button and the B button, but not the C button, Coleman. That's the cash button.
The C, stands for cash. And they've said, what happens if you don't subscribe and you accidentally press that button while you're playing a game? Oh, that'll take you to a little page to tell you that you should subscribe so you can use that button.
That sounds
nice, isn't it? Yeah. Sounds annoying. How many times have you accidentally pressed the Xbox button when you're playing a game? I've lost count. I've done it many, many, many times, especially when I'm playing with other people. They've done it also.
How many times do you go see the back or the other weird? I don't know what they're called in there, but the back and start buttons, as far as I'm concerned. You go to hit one of those and you accidentally hit the capture screenshot button. How many times have you done that?
The amount of times I think the capture button is select still.
Yeah.
Years,
it's not even called select
decades
anymore,
you've trained me, and then you took it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But yes, I like when we're complaining about the prices and we're complaining about the features and we're complaining about the changes and like there's all these things to complain about. I just want us to be as big of a nightmare for publishers as we absolutely can be.
Oh,
Just
I didn't think that was our job, Colin. Okay.
seems fun. Let's just, give them a taste. I'm not talking about death threats to developers or anything. I'm just saying, let's complain more.
Literally, part of the reason I started being on forums and then eventually that rolled into me podcasting, and part of the reason I wanted a voice in video games was because of the Xbox Red Ring of Death, and I wanted the chance, like not just the chance, but the ability to hold people's feet to the fire when they were doing something very anti-consumer like. So, as I said, in this thing, I support them, but I don't think they'll be successful. But all power to them.
Yes, anti-consumerism is not a thing I enjoy, and I love speaking out about.
As a consumer, I don't like being antied.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Should we wrap up?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. If you've enjoyed this show, then more power to you. Do you know you can support us by going over to tpublic.com/store/BRB. That's our little merch store. It's where we sell merch. Which t-shirt you got on, Tim?
Not one of ours.
Oh, why did you do that?
Because it's a t-shirt.
Buy this from QWERTY, I guess.
I've actually got on
yes. Oh, Family Guy, Star Wars.
Family Guy Star Wars t-shirt.
Very cool. Very cool, Tim.
I kind of like it.
You're the coolest guy in the room.
I am.
That room that you're in.
Also,
right now.
Someone else that did actually call me a cool guy yesterday, so I did say I'd give him a shout out on the podcast. But big thank you to Lewis from BT or EE, depending on which side of the coin you're on. Like he's going to be a new podcast listener after yesterday, Coleman. So I said I'd give him a shout out on the show, and he did also say I was a cool guy. So there you go. Yeah,
Lewis, you shouldn't lie to Tim.
No,
get his hopes up.
Lying will get you in trouble.
tpublic.com/stores/BRB. Go there for t-shirts. Go there for stickers, masks, whatever you might need. Also, obligatory mention Dan's Face by Dan's Face.
By Dan's Face.
And while we're telling you to do things, you should definitely go over to bigredbarrel.com and check out our Tabletop Tuesdays page.
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Tabletop Tuesdays.
Tabletop Tuesdays, Coleman. Each and every Tuesday, we do an event called Tabletop Tuesday at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington. Each Tuesday, we have a different feature game. If you play that feature game that evening, you have a chance of winning a copy of the game at the end of the evening. And this week, Coleman, I've got a very special thing to give people.
Okay.
I can give people piles.
Shame.
It's a game called Piles. It's a very silly game about sorting clothes. It's not about piles.
Okay.
It's not that S. I'll save you from having to do any cutting out there. But yeah, it's a very silly game. I played it. It's good. It's silly. It's fun. It is a good little game. If you come along and try it out, it won't take you very long to try it out because it's quite a quick game to play as well. Then you can play it at Tabletop Tuesdays at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington. If you play the game, you have a chance of winning a copy of the game and going home with it that very evening. You can check out more details on the right-hand side of bigredbarrel.com, or you can join the over 2,200 people in our meetup group. Search for Tabletop Tuesdays on meetup.com.
Loading Bar. No, wait. Tabletop Tuesdays at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington on the 14th of April. Go there to get piles. It's like Vinted the tabletop game. Go do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, you've enjoyed this show, then you're a crazy and love fool, but that's okay. We love you all the same. Go over to bigredbarrel.com. Once again, bigredbarrel.com. I'll say it thrice. Bigredbarrel.com. Go over there. Check out the podcast. Check out.
He really means it when he says something thrice, people.
I do. Go there. Check out all the things bigredbarrel.com related and say hi to us via our many different social media applications that are linked on the website, including Discord. Go over to Discord. Say hi. Ask us
Hi.
questions. Give us recommendations. Pick up a game code. If I remember to put them up there, I should really get into that. I'm pretty sure some of the codes I have are going to expire soon, so I should probably put them up sharpish. And let's do a quick question just to add to my editing time. You could ask a question much like Joke Sound, or as we like to call him, it's Ed. He says, if you were trapped inside a video game and had one line you repeated as an NPC, what would it be? I would say something along the lines of, I am looking for chaos. But I want to be trapped in a Cooking Mama game, so it makes no sense.
I mean, mine would have to start with basically, and then it basically doesn't matter after that. Basically something. Every line I say in the game would be basically, and then something, obviously. Basically. Why do we have to be trapped in the video game to that be a case? Why can't we just be in a video game? Like, generally, why do we have to be trapped? Ed, hey? Why are you trying to trap us?
I'm assuming it's Jumanji rules.
Yeah?
Jumanji 2 and 3, not...
No, but then we wouldn't be an NPC.
one.
We'd be a main character.
Well, we've been... those go the rules of Jumanji. We got sucked in as an NPC instead of a main character. There you go.
I'm the main character of this story.
I've changed my mind from Cooking Mama. Could I get trapped in Sega Bass Fishing? And then just... But like, while you're fishing, I want to be like way off in an island somewhere going, hey!
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 I'm looking for chaos! Nice fish!
That would be quite chaotic.
Chaos! Chaos! Yeah,
Just
that'd be
interrupting the nice time, nice chilled out fishing. You just bring in the chaos.
Yes. You can ask questions to us too, and we'll ask them answer them in such a fantastic way as we just did then. You should subscribe to us if you're not already. Go over to Big Red. No, wait, that's not right. Go to Big Red Barrel and hit links. But go to YouTube. We are Big Red Barrel TV. Go hit subscribe. Watch the video versions. You can watch the live streams if you want. But after the live streams are done, they go away, and then we put out a highly glossy, edited version of the podcast, which improves our bit rate of our video and our footage that we show inside the game as well, which apparently I forgot to fix the other day, and I sent out the horrible, crushed, pixelated version of the gameplay that I put out like 2 weeks ago, apparently. Whoops. Had it set up on a timeline, and then I accidentally deactivated the timeline so I could check something, and then forgot to switch it back on and exported it, and only realized about a week ago that I did that. So that was funny. The struggles that Coleman goes through while editing this here podcast. Speaking of which, I've got to go edit this here podcast, so we're going to go. Hopefully Dan's got his internet fixed, and we'll be back next week with a full team. But until that time, dear listeners, dear viewers, thank you for watching BRB episode 632. I have been Coleman. I might have been Tim. And I've also been Chaos in Sega Bass Fishing. Until next time, dear listeners, dear viewers, goodbye.
Ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarrel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarrel.com.
Find mutants in every one of them, and that seems to be the only time I use my guns. And then whenever it's humans, it's like sneaky, smack them with a cricket bat. kind of gameplay.
Which I appreciate.
Points for cricket
there's
bat.
a nice British flavour to that, having cricket bats rather than baseball bats.